Hello everybody, welcome to another Gundam TCG video, and in this video we're going to be taking a second look at one of my favorite decks to play, and that is the ping red-blue deck, which runs basically Merida and Amuro. So we have already done a video about this, but there's been enough changes in the deck that I feel like a 2.0 video makes a lot of sense. So we're gonna go ahead and do that with this video. So if you have been if you watched the last video, uh, you'll see that we have made a lot of changes, and I'll explain why those changes have happened and how I feel like this version is running a lot better than that one. Because I am not perfect, I do not know how to build extremely well, but I try to make changes and grow with all of the support and you guys telling me what changes we should make, because this game is kind of difficult. I'm not gonna lie, it is difficult to play it and do well in it. So the struggle is real, but let's get started with it. So since you guys already know, we're going to start with our two main pilots. We have Amuro, level 4, cost 1, and we have Merida, level 4, cost 1. Amuro, of course, when paired, rests your opponent if they have 5 or less HP. I mean, if they take damage, you can still rest it as long as it's 5 or less. A +2/+1. Merida is the same, +2/+1, but during the link, when she attacks, she can deal 1 damage to 1 unit, as long as it's the same level or lower. But this is only during a link, which means there needs to be very specific units in order for this to trigger. You need to be able to link with the unit. Any unit won't do. And so because of that, you do have to run 4 Kshatras, which Merida links with. And Kshatra itself also does damage pinging when paired with a new type or cyber new type. You choose 1 or 2 enemy units and deal 1 damage to them. So combined, Merida and Kshatra do quite a nice amount of ping damage, and this is a 7/5 unit, which is pretty powerful attack power. Of course, we also have Amuro's partner, which is the Gundam RX 78, which it also links with, and you are familiar with this card. It is very powerful. The link, of course, makes it so that during your turn, you get attack power +1 on your all your friendly units. It also gets repaired too, and that's pretty important for taking out small units and repairing the damage that they do to you to keep the Gundam alive, and it forces your opponent to basically have to deal with you. So this combination is really nice to start clearing your opponent and doing damage to them. I also run 4 gun cannons. Gun cannons just really powerful here. It's 1 level lower than the Gundam at level 3, and it drops for 2. It can link with the Amuro. However, remember the Amuro is level 4, so on turn or level 3 right away, you wouldn't be able to link with it. You would have to drop the gun cannon and then pair after. It itself gets a pair that when you pair it, it's at 2 HP or less rest. And then it also has a natural repair 1, which for a card at this level is pretty nice. But its attack power is 2 and its HP is 3. So it's a little bit thicker to deal with. But if you get Amuro on it, it becomes a 4/4, which is pretty solid at that drop. We're also going to have Merida's secondary unit. We're calling this is the Banshee, the destroy mode. A level 6 cost 4. This is basically a finisher card. It's not necessarily one that I feel like I need to run 4 of. But when you get it, when you link it with Merida, it can finish off your opponent or just do some very big damage. Because during the link, when you attack, if you have 12 cards in your trash, you can return it to the bottom of the deck. And if you do that, you can gain first strike. So you can actually destroy an opponent's unit, stand back up, and then attack a second unit and not take damage in either one of those. Right? Which is really nice. And of course, the link here is with Merida. This is a 5/4, meaning it's a 7/5 with Merida link. But the first strike means you likely won't take damage from destroying it, from taking a unit. And the double tap is, of course, a really nice finisher move. So I like this combination. This has worked pretty well so far. And then another card that hasn't changed since the first list is that we're running 4 of the gun tank. This card is just really good. Cost is 1, level 2, but when you play it, you get to deal 1 damage. So it works really well, complementary piece to the pinging damage happening with Merida here. And it is a 1/2, so it can survive ping itself, just 1 though, but it's still, we are running it at 4 just because it just works so well with this deck. So we need that gun tank. And so here we're going to come up with the first change that has taken place. We had these as our pilots. Only 8 pilots the last time we made this list. But honestly, that felt like it was too few. Too often did I feel like I needed a pilot to just keep going, to link, to pull off things, to buff in my units, all those types of things. So the change that we made is that I have added three Saylas, and honestly, it should be probably four. But three has been working out pretty well for me. So we have an additional pilot, which counts as a white base as well as a new type, which is important because Shatrax is still trigger just its own effect when you link with Sayla because she is a new type. The boost is only 1/1, but the level is 3, meaning you can actually link with gun cannon at level 3, which is really nice. It does give repair to blue units, which is a kind of a big deal because it means that ideally we want to lean more into blue units. And that does make a change for the rest of the deck here that we'll see. So the cool combos are that you have now a gun cannon that's 3/4, a little bit thicker, but now it has repair 2 since the repair stack. And you have probably rested one of your opponent's small units early on in the game. You destroy it, you repair 2. That's a really nice combo to pull off since Sayla's a white base. She can link with gun cannon and do some damage. And if you get it paired up with the Gundam RX-78, you have repair 3 on top of that. And with gun tank, that's a 2/3, making it sturdier with repair 1. That's just gonna make Sayla's just making all of your units be a little bit peskier, more resilient to deal with. Do not underestimate that repair 1. Your opponent's going to want to deal with those units with repair because they don't want them tapping and destroying and then healing back up to do all of these things. So another big change, I think this is a pretty solid change that happened. In the last deck, I was running 4 Zaku Mariners, a 2/1/2/2. Frankly, the choice was between the GM and the Zaku Mariner. And they had very much the same thing, same level, same cost, same attack, same HP. But being now that Sayla gives repair 1 to blues, that means that we do have to go with the 4 GM. So again, I like the art of the Zaku Mariner as well. It just looks cooler. But the GM just works better with this build now, because now you have Sayla making it a 3/3 unit. And giving it repair 1, making the GM a pretty pesky unit. And if you do have a Gundam RX-78 out there, this becomes a 4/3 with repair 1. That's pretty powerful. I'm not going to lie to you. I would have nightmares about playing that early in the game by turn 4 if you have a 5/3 GM with repair. That's pretty solid. So, since we have more blue, more Saylas, we have more white-based pilots, and a lot of people are playing lots of blockers and things like that, we've actually gone ahead and incorporated a couple of different units, starting with the G Fighter, which on deployment, if you have a white base team unit, you can give it high maneuver. It can give itself high maneuver, so if you happen to link, which you can link it with white base, meaning either Sayla or Amuro can both trigger the link, it can give itself link and just tap your opponent. So this is kind of like a just drop it and hit your opponent. Doesn't matter if they have blockers, they're going to take damage with this guy unless they have a command in their hand that can negate that. So one of my utility units, I'm calling it. Next, I have 2 Rizal. This is a level 3 cost 2 4/3 as its stats. Very solid, powerful unit. I like the result. It is blue. With Sayla, this becomes a 5/4 with repair 1. Stupid pesky to deal with. With Amuro, it's even worse. It's a 6/4 that rested your unit, right? So I feel like you just gotta run this guy just because the numbers are so good for that cost and level that it just makes a big difference to run some of it. And my last 2 of is gonna be the Anxia, just a pinger, level 4 cost 2 that deals 1 damage to a rested unit with a 3/3 line. I think it's pretty solid. It works really well in the deck. And I believe that I'm gonna have to commit to just 2 of these units eventually, but I feel like the approach of being a toolbox has been working pretty well. There are some times when I'd rather have one or the other, but instead I have the opposite one or whatever I don't need at the time. And so the draw power has become a little bit more important. If you remember in the last video, I was only playing one show of Resolve, just being stubborn. Frankly, we're running 3, and if I'm being honest, this should probably be a 4. You should run 4. I am running 3 because I'm mad. I am crazy. But Show of Resolve is just really good. You just need to get your pieces. You need to be drawing. If you're running blue, you just need that draw power. This game is about draw power, about getting your pieces. If you don't have them, you're just not gonna do as well as you could. So show resolve should be 4 do as I say, not as I do. I'm doing 3, which is not right. Second change, big change. Well, actually, it's not a big change. I was running the Kashatra for Merida's Link because it requires a cyber new type trait. This is a 3/4. It drops for 2 resources. Too often, however, that I feel like I would just link, but I wasn't in position to do much against my opponent with it. So I went with an alternative. This time we're going with the Unicorn Banshee instead, one of. It still links with Merida since she is a cyber new type. And it does rest at 3 HP or less, which could make a difference here as you want to destroy perhaps a unit that's being pesky or that's blocking your way a little bit. The big difference is that it's just a 3 resource instead of 2, unlike the Kashatra. But honestly, with this deck and with this build, I felt like the resources were often there for the taking. The fact that I could use a Show Resolve very often and also drop a 3 and then 1 to link with the Merida and get rid of a blocker or something that could have been finishing me off for game is pretty important. I'm still testing this, however. I'm not entirely sure if that one resource is going to make a big difference in the long run. But as I keep testing, I will keep Kashatra in mind and see whether that makes sense to maybe replace it again or not. But for now, the Unicorn Gundam Banshee does link with Merida, and it does provide a rest, which I can take advantage of with my pingers, right? As well as, for example, my command. We are running 2 Battle of Aces. If you're not familiar, if you have a unit, if your opponent has a unit that is damaged in any way, you can deal 3 damage to it. This command is super powerful at putting damage onto your opponent, but that meeting that 1 damage already on there is kind of a hard requirement, except for this deck, which pings your opponent pretty often. So whether it's Kashatra, Merida, the Gun Tank, the Anksha, or even just a straight up hit into your opponent, Battle of Aces can finish off a powerful unit by doing 3 additional damage, which should not be underestimated. And you can also use it as an action to surprise your opponent. That's my favorite way of using it, is as an action. But you can use it in any way that you want. And as a burst, it also does 2 additional damage, which is really nice. On to the last part of our video, we are looking at bases. I am running 2 Corsica bases. Most people are running 2 or 3 or 4 sometimes, but I am just running 2. What this does is basically place defense a little bit while also doing a little bit of offense, because you get to put a base with 5 HP on the board and also put up a token, which is the tall geese. So you can put a base and a unit simultaneously down. However, that doesn't trigger on a burst. You just get to pick up your shield and put down a base. So it's not always great, and the cost is kind of high. To level 3, cost 3. Yes, you get that simultaneous base and unit, but it feels a little more expensive than your typical base. And thinking about it for a long time, I did want to pick up a base that kind of helps me out a little bit into what I want to do. And the base that I came across that I felt was doing pretty well and fit into the mechanics was, well, the Nagel Argama. Sorry, I'm not sure. Argama. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but the Nagel Argama is a 5 HP base that when deployed, you of course add a shield to your hand, and then you can choose to rest a 3 or less HP unit. This does not have the requirement of needing to be on your turn, meaning you can use this both on offense, and if it bursts, you can use it defensively. So if your opponent hits a base in your shield, triggers this base, it activates, you get the 5 HP, and also you rest one of your opponent's 3 HP or less, potentially keeping them from having an additional attack onto your shield or damaging your base, which is really nice, and it leaves them vulnerable for the next turn for you to go up into them, which fits into the whole thing that this deck is trying to do. You could also, of course, use it offensively to rest your opponent and then ping it, drop a couple gun tanks and do some damage on it, right? It works on 3 HP, so if it's damaged down to 3 HP, you can still rest it, right? And then ping it, and then even Battle of Aces if you have that maximum combo potentially happening there, right? So I like how it works. I like the fact that it's both defensive and offensive, depending on how you want to use it and when it triggers. And the 5 HP, of course, keeps you alive. So we are running a total of 5 bases. So that is my current build for ping. Like I said, I feel like I should definitely be going with 4 Show of Resolve. You just got to get that draw, and also maybe committing fully to one of these 3 units. But I really like the toolbox aspect. I think if I was drawing more often, then this makes more sense. But I also can't draw more often without cutting a card. And I'm not sure where to do that at this time. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. This has been Ping 2.0, which I feel is doing much better than the other one from before. But if you have any advice, anything that you would like to say, you should try this, please let me know. I definitely take your advice into account. As can be seen from the Show of Resolve, I definitely got comments about making that number go up. And, well, it makes sense. So I definitely make that change. All right. You guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.